don't see me.
This way.
There's a little bit. There you go.
Back. Okay, you guys can start talking.
Oh, we're live?
Yep.
Oh, Rena, you always kind of like have to live. We are alive, that is for sure. And now, everybody, welcome to the Harp Effect on Friday afternoon in this January 2023. And we are today having a special guest that, in fact, we're going to end up with two special guests. We're so lucky.
It's a secret. Don't tell them the second one.
Oh, okay. We can keep it a secret.
You're getting ahead of us.
Tysen Knight is here. Say hi to everybody, Tysen.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us.
I think maybe you've already figured out that perhaps he's an artist, but he's not only an artist extraordinaire, but Tysen Knight has something that only you can gather from inside somehow. I look at his work and it's like I see probably many things that he hasn't a clue that I see, just because of the way he works. And you do, well, Tysen, what you do all kinds of art. I mean, it's like, is it oil? Is it pen and ink? Is it no?
I get inspired, and when I was younger, I didn't have a lot of material, so I would go in my mom's garage and dad's garage and grab whatever was there to create with. So I've just fostered this ability to use whatever oil, acrylics, whatever I could use and create artwork with. So I'm open to trying all different, genres of art. I've done fine art, pop art, street art. I've done a combination of the three. I'm just...
Not something you could be taught. You had to be able to garner that and digest that on your own.
Yes.
Can you imagine? It's what we call self-taught.
Yeah, so...
Are you looking at this or are you looking at the camera?
So when you have limited resources, especially at a young age, you especially as a child, you have like a really fascinating imagination. So I was able to hold on to that childlike part of me. Picasso talks about that. And out of necessity comes genius. So just, using all those stuff from my childhood and bringing it forward. And
that was in New Jersey?
That was in New Jersey, yes.
So now you are in the desert, as you all know. And did I welcome you to the Harp Effect?
Yeah,
with Yo Reno and Marcia?
Maybe.
I just wanted to let you know we're still here. After like 2.5 years, we're still at it. And we feel so privileged and so grateful, and that you all tune in so that you get to meet our friends and our guests and people like Tysen, who absolutely, his work has like fascinated me since I first saw him at was it a small gallery?
It was a small gallery. It was the Desert Art Center, which is a co-op gallery. It's downtown Palm Springs. And I had submitted some of my artwork to them back in 2017. And it's a jury, you get juried in, and I made it into that year, 2017. So that was my first time being displayed at a gallery in Palm Springs or in the Coachella Valley. So that was a cool accomplishment. Yeah.
So kind of prior to that, you were kind of doing two jobs. I mean, I met you originally as a barber. Yeah,
I was actually a barber. I came here, I was actually a barber because I started out, always as a child, I created art. But at some point you got to pay the bills, right? And I had this other ability. I was always blessed with my hands and the use of my hands. So I just got into barbering. So I thought, you can be an artist. I can hold a clipper and I can create art on people's hair. So I can look at someone's hair and know exactly what it's going to look like before I even started. I just know exactly how the finished product's going to look. So that's the same way I look at a blank canvas. I look at a blank canvas like, I already know what that's going to look like because I have the thought. So I just got to bring it into reality. And to me, that's magic. If you can think something and then bring it into the physical world, that's the closest thing to magic you probably can get to.
Isn't that incredible? I love it. I get so fascinated. I just get wrapped up in what he's saying.
Yeah.
And Tysen, there are things that about your work. You can go to his website, by the way, and it's Tysen, Tyson, Knight.
Nope.
Tysen. Okay. And Knight. But if you saw our ad before that came on to tell us that we would tell everybody we would be here, well, there was information there, and as you well know, we'll give you information today, and tomorrow it'll be out again so that you can find and read all about Tysen and how you can, I mean, because the bottom line is not necessarily to purchase, but people will want to.
Yeah. I just think, buying my art is definitely something I would love people to do. But I think the most important thing is just to be inspired by my story, my journey, and when you look at the artwork, just see a part of you in it, and just be inspired by it. So I get more thrill out of it and inspiration out of people just taking to the artwork and just admiring it, and thinking, oh, you know what, he can do that, I can do that. So yeah, I mean, of course you got to pay your bills and do things of that nature. Right. So I think in that regard, I'm going to be taken care of. But I think the most important thing is to inspire others to whatever they're doing in life, to see what I'm doing and implement that in their own lives in some regard.
So as a kid, like back in New Jersey, when you were doing your art, did you have much pushback, or were other kids like fascinated, with what you were doing? Or?
Well, I came up in a time where it was like, in the mid '90s, right? So internet wasn't a big thing, so creativity was a really huge thing for us as teenagers and kids, right? So I got to the point where I wouldn't even have any books in my book bag. I would just have T-shirts and jeans, and I would go home and airbrush them and use different markers. And I would go back to school and sell kids. I think Bart Simpson was really popular back then. I think Mickey Mouse was really popular. So I was, going to school and taking commissions at a young age, and I also was creating business logos for small companies in New Jersey. So I've always knew that I have something special to offer in the art community. It just took me some time to really put everything together, and make it something that I can use in my life going forward. Take care of myself. So
and that's where the hustle came in, right?
And
then his documentary.
His documentary, yes. Well, somebody I've read on of it, but I'm not quite sure how it came about.
I like Rena was saying, I came out here. I was barbering, cutting hair, and I was taking my artwork downtown Palm Springs and walking to all the galleries, and no one wanted to accept the art. And one day I was home, I got obsessed with watching like a lot of art documentaries, and I just got this really harebrained idea to create my own documentary, right? So I had a little bit of background in film because I used to do modeling and acting in New York, and a little bit in Los Angeles. So I knew what was going on, but when I used to go on sets and play boyfriends to different musical artists, or do small bit roles, I was more fascinated about what was going on behind the camera. So I was watching how they break the lens down. Then they had an AD. Then they had this person. I was like, wow, I think I can do that. So I just took that little bit of knowledge and experience, and I said, you know what, I'm going to just create my own documentary. And what I would do, I would work all week, and during the weekends for 6 months, I would take those days off and just film. And I was able to hire this gentleman who was he graduated from, I think, San Francisco Film School, but he was being a waiter downtown Palm Springs at a restaurant. And I told him, hey, I don't have a lot of money to pay you. I can pay you $100 a day. Can you help me with this?
Wow.
He said, yes, let's do it. And for 6 months, we just trekked around town and found other artists that wanted to be involved, and we just started building this thing from the ground up.
Now, where can people see this documentary?
You can see it on my YouTube channel. So, Tysen Knight YouTube channel, TysenKnight, YouTube. Just go to my YouTube or just Google me or something, it'll pop up.
See?
Yeah.
You have the advantage out there of being able to, or we do, to watch this story and how it unfolded and how he felt that he knew he had something to inspire and to give to the world. And he's still, I mean, you're still just a baby.
Yeah. Just
you're pretty fortunate,
Yeah. Oh no, I understand that fully, and I don't take that for granted, in any regard, because it's not every day that you're fortunate enough to wake up every day and be the person you want to be in your life. So that's something that's really I feel real blessed about it, and I make sure that I inspire people on a daily basis, in any way I can to give back, in that regard.
So when you were filming the documentary, I think didn't you go out at nighttime sometimes, and it was kind of places that were a little like iffy. What was that noise?
Yeah. It's a funny story. My film guy at the time, the guy who was doing the filming for me, I had this idea to go, go graffiti a billboard, right? And he was so nervous. He didn't want any parts of this.
Right.
I said, look, he's like, Tysen, I don't think this is a good idea. I said, we have to get this shot. And, we have to get this shot. And he was like, I don't know, man. I said, okay. I said, listen, I even went this far. I said, listen, if the cops pull up, I would tell them it's all me. That you had nothing to do with it. I'll take the whole rap for it. Then he felt more comfortable. Now, do I know that really would have been a thing?
No, he didn't.
Right? Like, I can't tell the cops what to do, but I would have said, hey, he has nothing to do with it. But it worked out, and thankfully, we was able to get the shot, and it was a part of the documentary. So,
Is that documentary I know that you're connected somewhat with the film festival here.
Mm-hmm. AM Docs, yeah. AM Docs. It's called AM Docs Documentary Film Festival, yes. I've screened with them twice, in 18 and 19, yeah.
Oh,
and you've gotten numerous awards, I saw.
Yes, I've won, it's
gotten some notoriety.
It's something that, it's fascinating to me how you could, have an idea, right, in your mind and get that idea out in the world and people notice it and you can win awards just for something I was just thinking about, just laying in the bed and bringing it into fruition and traveling to France. I traveled to France for this film. My film was shown to a French audience. I've won the Oregon Documentary Film Festival award for the whole film festival. It spawned my next documentary, which was Homeless Street Artist documentary. That won the Marina Del Rey Film Festival award.
Well, if they go to, this is incredible. And so if the audience wants to see this and they just go to your name on YouTube.
Just go to, just type me in, I have tons of content there, so you can find the films there. I have them in long versions and short versions too as well. So.
Well, we also have been introduced to your, she said, assistant.
But I had another question.
Do you have another question first?
Yeah.
And then, okay, Gail, stay there. Don't leave the wings.
I know you were talking about, I saw where you started a scholarship, because you're talking, you're going, about, I think, connect to the inner child. Mm-hmm. You talked about that. Yeah. And I see where that inner child in you, and now you reach out to other kids and inspire them. How's that reception been with the kids? Are they like, you got to come back, Mr. Tysen?
Yeah, it's that's really an amazing journey and opportunity because a lot of the kids want to follow me on social media, but I kind of try to, I don't. They'll follow me, I just don't follow them back. But they get inspired and they see me like, why don't you follow me back on social media?
Right.
But the kids are very inspired. I think children, especially young children, they're very open to creativity.
Oh yeah.
And the way I set things up is how I do my sessions with them is I will draw out and sketch out the image.
Okay.
So every kid gets the same exact image. And the reason I do that is because I don't want any kid to get discouraged because all kids have different art level skills. So I don't want a kid to be like, oh, mine sucks, or but sure. I give everybody the same thing and they add their colors. So it's just a unique way that kids build confidence. Right. Through the art and just being creative. And it's been studies showing that, even if you doodle, it just helps so much with clear thinking.
Yeah. I was a kind of an artist when I was a kid and got a lot of praise and so that it was inspiring. It's very inspiring. Knowing that you made something like your film or your paintings and people are like, oh my God, to think that is
where are they today?
They're actually I still have my toy box. I have a toy box with my old pictures in it.
It's funny when you look back at it's when you look like if you were to go look at that artwork you did as a child, there's going to be something special there that at some point you were in a special place in your mind when you created that artwork, and it can bring you right back to that place. It's some really cool nostalgia, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I think that's why, even though I got rid of some stuff, there's like, man, I can't get rid of it. I did this in the 3rd grade. I did this in the 8th grade. And
it's special. It'll never be duplicated again. It was a point in history. I mean, it's a lot of my my parents have all of my like old artwork from like 1990.
Wow.
Just stuff that I've done over the years. And I had to claw it out of their hands at this point.
No. We got some bucks here.
Yeah, we're gonna hold on to these just in case
This is vintage.
Well, let's bring Gail Fitzgerald aboard here, who happens to be your assistant. Now, in just the little bit that I have spoken, this is Gail, everybody.
Hi.
And yes, scoot yourself in so the whole world can have just a little bit of your persona and inspiration. And oh my gosh, I walked in the door tonight not expecting this lovely individual to be here. I stood there in amazement thinking, I've met her. And I just think I've met her because she's just so enrapturing. It's like it's incredible to me. And so, you know why? Because obviously birds of a feather flock together. And I just knew that the two of you inspire one another.
Yes.
Absolutely. So what would
you told me I have had 5 minutes with Gail that she is an author and a filmmaker.
Yes.
And the reason I wanted you to meet Gail is because she just had a book. Is it published today?
It's just released on Apple Books yesterday.
Wow.
And it will be on Amazon later this month.
And the name of the book?
The name of the book is Winter in the Desert. And it's a children's book for ages 3 and up, and it's based on my dog Winter, and her journey to find everlasting love. And I wrote the script about 10 years ago, and then 6 months ago I went to rewrite it and to make it current, and I decided let's make a children's book out of it.
Nice.
So I quit my job and wrote for 4 months, and now I'm going to use it as a marketing tool to market it so I can make the film.
Wow. So it's all about the childlike mentality of not being afraid to take that leap.
Yes, it's an inspirational children's book that teaches children based on Buddhist theories of never give up, hope, courage, and confidence to win in life.
And that's needed more than ever for kids.
Yes,
and,
absolutely.
When I was growing up, I was very fortunate. I was raised by very strong females, grandmas, aunts, my mom. I mean, some of they were only this tall, but they have that inspiration that you can do anything, and they always lift you up. And obviously, you two do that with kids too. It's a hand up, not pushing them down.
Yes, absolutely.
I feel it's a gift, and the same thing like when I'm teaching or performing. If somebody is inspired by any part of what I do,
Excellent.
I feel it's a gift that has been given to me from God, because that's what I'm about. And it's like the two of you together. I mean, it's like the energy in the room is like swirling and swelling.
Yes.
And of course, those of you who will be people from Barnesville, Ohio, tuning in. My beginnings.
Oh, that's
great. Yes. And
We've had people. I have friends in Switzerland. She has friends in
nice.
France and Germany.
Nice.
yes,
So-
and they'll make comments, or later on the playback, it'll come up. We were watching today, and we loved it, and that's why we try to get information out to the world where they can see, feel, touch, buy your inspiration. I call it more inspiration than art, because it comes from inside them. Well, so does the art. Anyway, I want first of all, I want to make sure that the Winter in
the Desert. Winter in the Desert.
and it's a children's book for 3 years and up.
Yes.
That means I can
You
read
can
it.
read it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can read it.
What do you say your mom says about good thing she gave you dancing lessons? Because
My mother always would say, "Thank goodness we gave you dancing lessons, because at least your feet work, because your head sure doesn't."
well, we know it does.
Yes, definitely.
A little bit. Yeah, it does. And I get, on a day like today with the little rain, it's all cleared out. And so, you had so many notes that you wanted to ask.
Well, I was always inspired by Tysen, even as a barber, because I had another barber at the same place, but I'd be like watching Tysen, and I'd see some of the before and afters that you did, and then when you told me you were an artist, and then I found out about your documentary, I'm like, man, this guy hustles. I admire that about him.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Well, so the metamorphosis of my hair, my viewing audience has been with me all along, and so no, he didn't do it, but yeah, I bet you I'm going to pick his brain, pick his inspiration and art. We need to. You need to take you have another question?
Yeah. So, I know you've done a lot of artwork throughout Palm Springs. You were commissioned to do the benches and other areas. I mean, even murals, right, on the walls and stuff. I mean, you just don't go and do what you want, right? People call you to say, "Don't fix this up, trick it out." So, how many benches are you up to now?
I think we've passed. I don't have an exact number, but I'll say at least 40 to 50. I think.
40 to 50 what?
Benches. He painted the benches.
Oh, the benches.
I saw him there one day. Yeah. They had a little tarp up, and it was like 110 degrees.
Tell what the benches are that we're talking about.
The benches in Palm Springs.
Well, I know, but people in Switzerland and Barnesville, Ohio don't know that.
They can go to the website and see the benches.
Do you have some?
Yeah, let me go grab the pictures. I have an actual thing.
Okay. And then Reno's going to take it around. But yes, he does these benches.
He's not going to bring the bench in here. He's going to bring a picture of the bench.
Well, I wouldn't surprise me. Would not surprise me at all. So, Reno, this is exciting because the other day we were downtown Palm Springs, and you said that's one of Tysen's benches.
Yeah.
Ooh.
This is the actual. This is my logo, actually.
Yeah, this is what I want to ask about. What is that? Where's the benches?
This is the bench one right here.
Okay.
All right.
I've been closed out before.
I don't want to close you out.
But I don't mind with the art of benches of Palm Springs. What they do is they have benches, and you said something where around 50.
Yeah. So it's how many is here? It's about. So all of these are done by different artists, right? So basically, the ones that I've done, I started this project. So let me give you a backstory, right? So in 2018, I was approached by the Palm Springs Art Commission. Real cool gentleman named Russell Pitchart. He saw my documentary at the AM Docs Film Festival and said, I'm going to get this guy to do this test pilot project. Because I think back in 2018, the city were going to replace all of these benches with the trash cans. And it was going to cost about maybe $500,000 to do it. So the commission had this really bright idea to actually pay artists to paint them and just, revive them. So they tapped me to do the test pilot. They said, okay, you know what, we'll do it. Let's get an artist. Let's see if he can pull it off. And if it stands up and the people like it and the community gets behind it, then we'll greenlight the rest of them. So I was the one that spearheaded this project and was able to get other artists commissions and benches. Yeah.
Some of you watching, I know what you're saying. Oh, I sat in that bench, and I sat in that one up there. And for those of you who are going to be downtown Palm Springs, like today or tomorrow or whatever, look for the benches. They're easy to find, and take a little break and sit in Tysen's bench.
And you know what's amazing about this project? I've scoured the internet, and we're the only city that's done a project like this.
Wow.
So it's it's really history making, and it's just a really fascinating.
Well, really beautified downtown. When you're driving down the main strip, like there's one. They pop. They're not just what color were they before? Brown.
They were like a brownish color, like to match the backdrop of the mountains. What the pandemic actually spearheaded to go ahead and greenlight them and get other artists to paint. So it had two things going for it. It was inspiring the community, and it was hiring artists in a time that people were really hurting for money because of the pandemic. So it just had this really beautiful impact, all around. So
did you two know each other then?
Oh yes.
Oh,
Definitely.
I'm so, as you know, I'm excited because anything that has to do with art, inspiration, people wanting to inspire others, because you always know when I'm telling you, when did you give up your piano playing? When did you give up your art? When did you stop singing? When did you stop dancing? When did you
give up your paintbrush?
Yeah. You know, any of those things. And nearly every show I do, I advocate that because that's where, you know, it's like people like you who can inspire and tell people it's never too late. You know, you may not. Well, you just might achieve this level, but you better.
You never know. You know, it's you know, you connect to the source, and then you know, it's funny because when I paint, that's how you know you're really in rhythm, right, with the universe, is because once you start creating, you lose space and time.
Yep.
That means that you're in a higher, you're somewhere higher within the realm where you're creating, and you look up, it's like, damn, it's 5 o'clock. I started at 12. Where did 5 hours go?
Yeah,
Yes.
right.
Yes.
You know, it's
I know
even been
that
times when I would paint for a long time. I would leave out to go, you know, we got to do life stuff, right? You can't just stay in this place forever, right? You got to snap out and get back into reality, right? So I would go like to the grocery store and come back, and then I'll come back like, damn, I painted that?
I understand.
Do you know that energy?
Yes.
Like,
yes.
damn, did I created that? It's just like really, you know, fascinating, you know, space to be in.
It is.
That you created this thing.
Because even when I do the little ad, like the little promo ad I did for you, I mean, it's just a little thing, but then all of a sudden 3 hours went by and I go, I spent 3 hours on this?
Yeah.
And then she's like trying to ask me stuff, and I'm like, and then I snapped out of the flow, and then I got to get, what did I just do? And so now she leaves me alone when I'm doing it, and I get all bug-eyed and I'm like doing this, you know.
So it's
you
a
get in
special
that
way to
zone.
connect. You know, you connect to that higher source, and you're just really in that energy. You're immersed in it, and
It's like a runner's high.
it's a fascinating.
It's like a
it's
But
a
when I'm
fascinating
working on my show, which is going to be on January the 22nd at the Arthur Newman Theater in Palm Desert,
Beautiful.
you know, at housed in the Jocelyn Center, there'll be times when he does the same thing to me, you know, and you
Can we eat now? No.
and it's like, but it's wonderful when, you know, you can surround yourself with others' creative, you know, endeavors, trying to make this world a better place.
Well, that was the big thing about when we started the whole Harp Effect show. It was like, you know, talking to people that inspire entrepreneurs, people that quit one thing and started something else, all because they felt it.
Yeah.
They weren't afraid. They had that childlike imagination to go ahead and do it.
Yeah.
And it didn't matter if they opened up a little restaurant, a gym, art. It still took courage to take that leap of faith. Like you're a perfect example, Gail.
Thank you.
Quit your job to write this book, and then see
Quit
where
your
this
job and to write the book, and then you're going to do the film, correct?
Absolutely. I'm going to shoot it here, all the way from Desert Hot Springs. It's going to start all the way down to Indio and back up to Desert Hot Springs.
Wow, I love it. I love it.
Oh, that's
Well,
thrilling.
we have another guest.
Just thrilling.
When she gets it, when we see the book, we'll
Yeah, we have
her
another
back.
guest.
Absolutely, yes.
And then you can drag along.
We'll make him the special guest.
Yes. Switch road.
Well, I did. You know, there was one of the quotes that you and I shared it on the ad, and hopefully I do it justice. But you said, "There's no real concrete way to be successful. There's no A to Z. There's no mathematical or alphabetical way of getting there. Just be inspired."
Yes.
Tyson Knight. I
Yes.
thought that is like the icing on the cake.
Yes.
Yeah, he definitely, when he saw that and wrote it and said, you know, this is, you know, Tyson said this, and it stops you in your tracks and makes you think, am I doing that? Am I living up to my own ability to inspire? Am I living up to my own? And who should it matter to? Yeah,
So, yeah.
that's
Yeah.
right.
Because
That's
people
right.
will feel it when you feel good about yourself. They want to be around you. But if you're like
I
doubting
want-
Thomas,
The logo picture. What
Yeah.
happened? I don't. even when I watched it on the website, I said to myself, what is this?
You're trying to understand the significance.
I was trying to understand
Okay.
the
Let me
significance.
see, because we're right up here.
Now be careful, you guys, about don't putting that in front of the
block it.
microphone.
All right. So basically, I posted on Facebook. This is a picture of me when I really started to feel confident in my abilities as an artist as a child. So this picture is actually on my Facebook, right? And then I have some of my child drawings there. This is actually a picture of me then, and I just digitized it, and I put the red and blue glasses, you know, to represent. I was born in the 70s. I was born in '76, so this represents when you would go to the movie theaters, and 3D was like the most magical thing. It was the most magical thing you ever seen.
I know.
Like that was like nowadays. I mean, you got HD and all these different things, but back then, like just to see something pop off your screen was, for me as a child, was just like next level. So now they don't even make these. Are so retro now. Now it's just like all the glasses now look like Ray-Bans now, right? Like these Wayfarers, right? So and that's just a representation of that in my life and how I see things, and I always pull from the past, you know, a little bit of nostalgia in my artwork, things from my past. So that represents all of that in this logo, and just me, the red and blue. And it just represents
and that haircut too. You got that
ardent,
line on the haircut.
Yeah, it's ardent retrospective thoughts. That means a very eager look back at things and bringing those thoughts into the present and putting those on canvas.
Reno, take the camera and show some of his artwork. Just take a little swoop around. Yes, no, maybe, could be.
I think we'll just. I'll take photos and then repost it. I mean, I can.
Yeah, that's what I want you just to pan a little bit, and so you can see, like on the walls, and there's his award. What was the award that you? There's a trophy in there.
Yeah, I got it's a trophy in there. I have my that was an award I won for the first documentaries award. So it's right there. I won the award for Best Artist in the Valley.
Okay, just fan around. I'm sorry.
I won the award for Best Visual Artist in the whole Coachella Valley in 2021-22.
Don't you? All of you out there should be giving a standing ovation to this gentleman, because I tell you, he is so inspiring, and I feel privileged that I've known you now. I figured had to be going on 6 or 7 years.
It's been a while, yeah. Like I met you like in the beginning stages of the journey in this valley, and really getting my art out there, and like taking that leap of faith from the barbershop. You know, I just believe like I've been able to understand on a different level that to advance you have to be uncomfortable. You can't advance being comfortable.
Yep.
So I had to make myself uncomfortable to advance, and then that's where like you figure out ways to make things happen. Right?
Oh wow!
The secret of the advancing man,
I remember,
is to be uncomfortable.
When I first got in real estate, everybody said, "Oh, you got to go door knocking, door knocking." I'm like, "What do you do?" And I kind of had a little clue, but no clue. And I remember going out, parked, and I left. I went out and parked again, got out of my car, got back in, and I left. I couldn't do it. I think it took 4 tries. And finally on the 4th one, I knocked on like 4 doors. Then there was a barking dog, and I left again. So I did 5 tries, but it's that whole comfort. Once you get past it,
You gotta get past that.
things open up for you.
Absolutely.
And people thought I was an expert, and I said, I'm not an expert. I was just brave enough to do it.
That's it.
And then he met some wonderful people who have become our friends. You
From
know,
door knocking.
people from just door knocking.
Never sold them a house, nothing like that. We just connected, and we've been friends, like some of them 5 years now.
Well, isn't this fun? I love this, because I'm now going to be able to be. I'm using him. I'm taking some of his inspiration. I'm taking it down because I need it right now. Yes. So anyway, if there was something that any of you would want to tell the world, because the one thing about the Facebook Live is it's worldwide. And so if there was something you wanted to say that you...
Like a closing comment?
Like a closing comment, yeah.
Not an ending close, not an end.
Well, you know, I'll let
Gail.
Start off.
Well, I want to say the reason why I wrote my book is because I wanted to really inspire young people to never give up. Okay? And that winter always turns to spring. So no matter what you're going through, there may be a wall, you'll figure a way to go over it, around it, underneath it, through it. Just get through it. And you're going to win no matter what.
Spring is just around the corner.
Did you hear that line that she said? My last show that I did was titled, Have You Given Up This Time?
Wow.
So I can't wait to read your book because I know there's a lot in there for me. And I know you don't believe it, but I am over 3 years old.
Okay.
So you don't have to card me. And
Yeah.
She's like this when she teaches her fitness class.
Oh my goodness.
You're in pain, and she'll say something off the wall, and you're trying to laugh, and you're hurting. Yeah.
I want to join. Okay?
Yes, absolutely. So,
Tysen.
I just want to, this is what I've learned in my own life. This is my human revolution. When you're pursuing anything in life, always look inward, never outward. Because if you look inward, everything outward will be a byproduct of what comes out from you inside. So that's how you create your life. So you don't use outward things to define you. Everything's defined inward. And everything outside of that, outward is a byproduct of that inward ability to manifest things in your life.
We got to get him in front of more kids.
oh yeah, in front of more people,
Mm-hmm.
more people, kids, adults. I mean that have lost the child within them, that used to be. And I can't express enough how much the world needs all of us to come together and really start being more kind, more loving, more inspiring.
More humble.
Yes, absolutely. And we don't have to agree with each other on everything, but it always just makes me feel that I'm the ringleader and somehow I have to go out there and march, and
just be the example. Right?
Yeah, let your life be an example of greatness, and then other people can see that, because you can tell someone something, right? Like, you should do X, Y, and Z. But if they see you doing it and they can feel that energy, right, and somehow connect to that, you've done your job.
Yeah.
You've done your job.
Because I'm sure when you walk into a room, people are like, who is that? There's something like, I want to know this guy, because you go from within and it comes out and people feel it. I'm sure they feel it with you too, Gail.
Well, when I walk into a room, I like to make people feel, heard and appreciated.
Right.
So I never leave with what I do or things of that nature. I always like to listen to other people and take interest in what they're doing.
Sure.
Because so many people are not heard, and it's everybody can talk, right? So I like to listen to people. Hey, what do you do? And then people get excited, like, oh, I do X, Y, and Z. And then if they ask me, then I'll go into a story about what I do. But
sure.
I always like to let people be themselves and feel comfortable being who they need to be.
Yeah.
And hopefully they can be even greater the next day, And then I learn something from that, from listening.
Yep.
And it helps me gain more empathy and understanding. So
empathy, that's a great word.
Well, everybody, I think, don't forget to go to Tysen Knight YouTube, and we'll have more info on that tomorrow. Yes. And Gail Fitzgerald, your book when will it be available on Amazon?
But the end of this month, but it's available on Apple Books right now.
On Apple Books right now, and it's called Winter in the Desert.
Yes.
For 3-year-olds and above.
Yes.
So, you know how I feel at the end of every one of these shows. I don't want to let go. I don't want to let go. But let me leave you with my saying that may everything that has been reduced to noise in you become music again.
Yes.
And
Beautiful.
friendship and music and art has no distance. Thank you all for being here and joining in.
Thank you guys.
And-
Peace and love.
To